Hey guys, what up? Happy Valentine's Day. Tim Murray here, eXp Realty, Denver, Colorado. I've got my good buddy and one of my favorite mortgage brokers, Joe Massey, here. We're doing a little shared Zoom action. Joe, what are the rates doing today? What's happening?
You know what? Great question, Tim. So as of last week, interest rates have started to tick up a little bit. The average 30-year rate is now 6.12%. However, we are seeing that trending upwards again this week. So depending on when you're speaking with your loan officer, it might be 6.25, maybe even 6.5, depending on how much money you're putting down, credit score, etc. So we are seeing that general trend going back up. So a lot of folks were hoping that rates might get to 5%, 4%, 3%. Probably not going to happen right away, but still lots of great opportunities and lots of great chances to purchase new properties out there.
Fantastic. And I know the last time we spoke, there's still all the same opportunities available for people to buy their rates down or get the 2-1 buy downs, all that stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm seeing lots of great opportunities with folks getting seller concessions and using those concessions to buy down to a lower rate. That's working really, really well right now.
Fantastic. And then one of the things I wanted to discuss with you today, I think there's everybody's always curious about like what do I need to do to get pre-approved
Yeah.
for a loan? And more specifically, I've run into a couple of my buddies are like, "Oh my God, I'm self-employed, but I can't do it." So can you talk us through that, man? Talk us through getting pre-approved for self-employed versus just normal employed person.
Absolutely. So what I want to do here is do a screen share and give you the list of all the documents that somebody would need in order to get pre-approved. All right, so the very first thing is for the client to give us a phone call, and we're going to go over their initial information over the phone. Where do you live? Where do you work? How much money do you make? We're going to ask a lot of really personal questions and, of course, take a look at their credit report. Then we're going to ask for some documents. Number one, a copy of your driver's license. Number two, your most recent 30 days paycheck stubs. Number three, your 2 years most recent W-2s and most recent tax returns. Now, right there, your question, Tim, on self-employed people. What's one of the most important things? They'll say, well, I don't get W-2s. I don't get paycheck stubs. I'm self-employed. All right, that's totally cool. Greater than 30% of our clients are self-employed. That's where this step is really important. 2 years most recent tax returns for yourself personally and for your business if your business files a tax return. We're going to look at those. We're going to come up with what's your business cash flow, your personal cash flow, and then we're going to ask for your two most recent bank statements, your most recent 401k IRA statement, and then of course phone number of your real estate agent, which obviously we've got your information, Tim. And then as you get further into process, we're going to need your homeowner's insurance agent. We're going to need a copy of the purchase contract and your earnest money once you're under contract. And then a couple of things down here at the bottom that may or may not apply. If you receive any sort of Social Security, retirement, pension income, we'll need information on that. If you've been divorced and pay or receive any alimony or child support, we'll need that information. And if you've ever had a bankruptcy, foreclosure, short sale, or any of that type of stuff in the past, we would need that information as well. So at the end of that phone call, we'll ask you for this list of documentation, and then you can email it all right to me here at jmassey at Castle Cooke Mortgage. Of course, you can fax it over to us or drop it off at the office. And then from there, we're going to go through all of this information in depth with a fine-tooth comb and figure out what is the best way for you, Mr. or Mrs. individual client, to be pre-approved, and how can we help you buy a new home.
Fantastic, man. Cool, Joe. So, couple things come to mind right away.
Yeah.
What's the scenario with, well, I had a really great job last year and then COVID happened, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm self-employed.
Yeah. So we really need to see if you're self-employed, that you've been self-employed for at least 2 years. Now, here's why that is. 80% of small businesses go out of business during the first 2 years. So if you're newly self-employed, that can be a little bit of a challenge. It's a challenging time. You're learning how to run your own business. We've got to see that full 2-year self-employment, and we want to see those full 2-year tax returns. Now, a lot of people say, you know what, Joe, I have a lot of expenses. I claim a lot of write-offs. That's okay. That's why we want to start with the tax returns, but then we also have some alternative verification methods. We can actually verify your income based on 12 months or 24 months of your bank statements. We can look at your business profit and loss. We also have, which this is new and has been really beneficial lately, we actually have a no income verification plan. So if you have really great credit, lots of savings in the bank, and you're putting down at least 20%, we have a plan where we can completely ignore your income altogether. And that's been really nice for some of our self-employed people. But that list I showed you, that's what we really like to start with. Let's start with all the information, because you might qualify for something and you don't even realize it, right? So let's start with all the info, and then from there, narrow down to what is really going to be the best program for you and your specific situation.
Nice, man. And then lastly, since we're coming into tax season,
Yeah.
I've been through this one. I refinance with you. I'm like, oh well, shit. I haven't filed yet. What does that mean?
Yeah, good question. So up until April 15th, we are looking at the prior 2 years tax returns. So we're looking at 2020 and 2021. Once you cross over April 15th, you got to get your taxes filed. Now we're going to be looking at 2021 and 2022 taxes. So right now you're in a little bit of a kind of a funky window that some people have filed their taxes, some people have not. We're just going to go off where you're at. Until April 15th, we'll still go off of the prior 2 years. After April 15th, you got to have those 2022s completed.
Nice. Perfect, Joe. Rock and roll. Thanks for all the valuable information. You guys, if you are even remotely considering buying a house, give me or Joe a call. Get off the pot. Let's take some action. It is time to create wealth in your life through home ownership. Thank you so much, Tim Murray, eXp Realty, Joe Massey, Castle and Cooke Mortgage.
Thanks, Tim. Always appreciate it, buddy.
Right on. Thanks, Joe.